Yo guys, what is going on? My name is Vexlite, and today I'm bringing you another game review for the year of 2021. If you guys been keeping up with my channel and my game reviews, you may have noticed that I'm not really playing new games that are coming out this year or even somewhat recently. Today we are going to be reviewing InFamous Second Son, which is a PS4 game. I played this on the PS5 because, you know, you get the boosted FPS and a little bit of graphics boost, I believe. Don't quote me on that. Yeah, but, you know, I've been enjoying going back and playing old single-player games. I have played this one before. I played it when it first came out, but let's just get straight into the review. InFamous Second Son is a third-person open-world action/adventure game which originally released in March 21st of 2014. So, like I said, this game is 7.5 years old. That's a bit of a crazy thought. It honestly doesn't feel that old. It really doesn't. I mean, I guess the worst part about the age would be just the graphics, but it's not like the graphics are so bad that it's going to hinder your gameplay or your experience. It looks a little bit dated, which I mean it is. It's almost 8 years old, almost a decade old already, which is kind of a crazy thought. I remember getting this when this first came out on the PS4. In this game, you play as a character named Delson Rowe, and he lives in a world that has been blessed or, I guess, cursed, depending on how you look at it, with humans with superpowers called conduits, or, as the people refer to them that don't like them, as bioterrorists. You can choose to use these powers for committing evil actions and making the DUP or dupe agents, which is basically like the government agents trying to crack down on the bioterrorists. And you can choose to make civilians who hate you and your kind pay, or you can become a defender of the unique and swear to protect the city and its civilians from the real evil that is the DUP and its leader. That's something I like about this game, is that you kind of get to choose how you play, good or bad. Being a good guy or a bad guy, though, slightly changes your experience. It's not like an entire different game if you choose good or bad. I played the game as a good guy and a bad guy. I like 100% in games. I like going for the platinum trophy, and you have to do both in order to get the platinum trophy. The differences include how you treat people you meet on your journey, deciding if you want to make you and your team a bunch of evil bioterrorists looking for vengeance, or a justice-seeking group of conduits for the people by the people. It changes if you spare or execute your opponents, if you heal or kill your civilians, tiny things like that. I want to keep this review spoiler-free as possible, so if you haven't played this game 7.5 years later, and you still want to see this video, you can watch this and then go play it. I won't spoil anything. Delson's main goal in this game, Delson's the main character as I stated in the beginning, is to take down the DUP leader and the DUP itself. Good or bad, that is the main objective. And he wants to heal the people that he lived with back home who have been hurt by this whole DUP bioterrorist situation, regardless of if you're good or bad. You are accompanied by your brother. His name is Reggie Rowe, you're Delson Rowe. He's a cop, and in the story, he does not let you forget about it. You're kind of like the rebellious teen. I don't know if you're exactly a teen, but you kind of act like it. And he's the mature, responsible, authoritarian adult. You two butt heads a lot, but the brotherly love is definitely there. And despite him being a bit annoying, you and the player, Delson, love him, in my opinion, at least. For a game that puts big emphasis on the choices you make, honestly, they don't feel like a huge difference up until the very end cutscene, literally the last cutscene before the credits play. The gameplay and the plot of the game changes absolutely nothing about the game. So yeah, there are slightly different interactions with people you meet in your adventure, depending on if you're good or evil, things you do with those people, but they don't really affect anything outside of that cutscene. Once that mission/cutscene is over, everything in it doesn't really vary from the other alteration of the game, good or bad, and up until the very end, the last cutscene. And let me tell you, the bad ending, the evil ending, is definitely evil. It was really messed up, but at that point, the story plays out the exact same if you're good or bad, minus a few side missions, like I said. The only main plot difference is the end cutscene. I want to put emphasis on that. So if you're not down for playing this game twice in a row, you're not really missing out on anything except a change of a last cutscene. One thing I did find funny is when you play as the bad guy, there's this girl in the story that Delson actually, you know, hooks up with if you're the bad guy. But if you play as the good guy, she kind of just thinks you're a dork and you don't get with her in the same mission. I thought that was funny and a good attention to detail. Another thing about choices and things that happen throughout this game, cutscenes drop all logic and reality and story of this game. So many plot points, what I'm trying to say, many plot points in this game are decided and progressed through these cutscenes, but while trying to remain spoiler free, they always seem to happen the way they do because the whole superpower thing never seems to come into play in these cutscenes. So many situations could have been avoided, and plots would have changed drastically if the character Delson you're playing as in the cutscene would have just used one of his powers. It sounds like a little bit of a nitpick, but it's hard not to pick up on these things and kind of make me less drawn into the story. It kind of detaches me from the story because you're seeing your character get in trouble, and it's like, hey, you can shoot smoke out of your hands and fly and whatever garbage you can do. Not garbage, I'm just, not trying to spoil all the abilities you get. It's like, hey, you could have just got out of that if you used the powers, the whole thing this game's about, but okay. And a lot of things could be avoided in those cutscenes. That's just thinking outside of the box, thinking outside of the fourth wall, I guess. It's just kind of weird for me. Or another example is how, in a point in the story, you want to keep a power, like a power you have, a secret to the DUP and the DUP boss, and they throw you into a battle, like a mini boss battle, and then like you're being taunted, like, go ahead, use that new power, and I did not use the new power once, didn't showcase it, used absolutely nothing. But when I go into the next cutscene, the boss was like, haha, I knew you had powers, and I'm like, what? I did not use the power whatsoever. So things like that, for a game that kind of revolves around the choices, that should have changed something in the story, and it didn't. And I was upset there was no plot change or difference, it's something, because it was a challenge to not use that power, and my reward, absolutely nothing, same exact outcome. I thought that was kind of lame, just to be straight up honest. Playing through the game twice in a row like I did to get the Platinum Trophy really emphasized the repetition of the story. Without spoiling anything, it's kind of like this same cycle over and over again. It's like, A, find cool ability. B, get better at it. C, almost get close to solving the end, and then big setback. This happens about 2 or 3 times up until the very end, the plot twist and shock of the story. So it's, oh, you found this ability. Oh, let me train it. Oh, let me get really good at it. Oh, these new abilities almost helped me save everything. And oh, no, I'm back down to square zero, root one. What the hell is this thing? Ground zero. I think something like that. I don't know. Big botch right there. And then it's like, oh, look at this new power I got, though. Oh, I'm getting really good at this. Maybe this will solve it. Nope. I didn't really notice that too much in my first playthrough, but playing it twice in a row, I definitely noticed the repetition. But the plot twist at the end was genuinely good and shocking. I got chills up my body both times playing the games. The music, the voice acting, everything is perfect in this big end twist. The cutscenes in general are usually done well, the acting and the capturing of emotions they want you to feel. But overall, what do I think of this game? Is this game any good? The main question, should you play this game in 2021 if you have not already? I think you could compare this game to like an old car or an old truck. The engine and transmission are great, run with no problems. They can take you hundreds of thousands of miles like an old Toyota pickup truck. No problem. But this said truck has no working air conditioning, a broken radio, rust all over the body, and like a stiff, terrible suspension. That's how I would, compare this game in that analogy. The story at its core is good. The premises of the story, they're all good. The twists are good, the gameplay mechanics, the powers are fun, the combat's fun. It all could be compared of, the hypothetical truck, good engine, good core, good transmission. But it's a bit repetitive. The story doesn't have a whole lot of alteration and freedom as it should. And tiny little things like that add up across the gameplay, especially when you're trying to be critical like me. But at the end of the day, the game it's decent. It's okay. It's good. It's an average game. I personally enjoyed playing it though, although admittedly playing it 2 times in a row for the trophy wasn't the most enjoyable thing, to put it kindly. That second playthrough, because I played it right after and just rushed through it for the trophies, it helped me pick up on the negative things, but it also kind of made me feel a bit drained of the game. Once again, the average person is not going to be doing that, though. The core of this game is good, and I do not regret playing it. And honestly, I'm somewhat glad I did. Like I said, I actually did play this when it came out. But to be fair, objective, and critical, this game is nothing too special. Nothing mind-blowing. It does nothing too special or out of the ordinary, and the story is definitely not the best story you'll ever play. Before I tell you my final score for this game, let me explain my scoring system, because I've never really went over that in any of these reviews. So anything like 1 to 5 is just straight up terrible, and the lower the rating is just worse. You know, 1 is garbage, 5 is like bad, but like the best of the bad, if that makes sense. 6 to 7 are like, you know, average games. Hint, that's where this game's going to land, in the 6 to 7 range. 8 is a great game with some flaws. 9 is like near perfect, and 10 is as close to perfect as possible. I think I gave Firewatch a 10 out of 10. I have a review on that. Go watch that if you haven't. With that being said, I give this game about a 6.8 out of 10. I wanted to explain my scoring for that just a little bit, because at least for me, when I watch game reviews, I immediately translate it to like how schoolwork was graded, and I'm like, oh, 6.8 out of 10, that's 68%. That's 2 points off of failing. And I'm not like, this game isn't close to a failure. I want to emphasize that. 6.8 out of 10 is not like close to a failure. I really wanted to explain that, so you guys like don't think I'm saying this game is nearly a failure. I don't think it is. If you have extra time and you don't have anything to play, and you haven't played this back when it came out nearly 8 years ago, you're not going to lose much by playing it. But there are better games. Like if you haven't played the new Spider-Man, which I haven't, you know, there's so many millions of story player games that I can think of that I haven't played that probably would have been worth my time more than this, like The Witcher 3, like Red Dead Redemption 2, like BioShock, things like that. You know, there's tons of other games that definitely will rank above this. So that's my review. Let me know what you guys think. Are you going to be playing this in 2021? Have you played this already? What did you think? Let me know down in the comments below. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Drop a like, you know, share with a friend, all that good stuff. You guys watch YouTube, you know how it goes. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye, guys.